Hello friends, today we are going to make a vintage car. It will need 2 C plates, 4 square plates, 1 big gear, 1 medium gear, 3 wheels, a big axle, medium axle, some spare parts, and of course 1 motor. In the first step, we'll use a C plate and a square plate. The C plate's front side should have the vertical slits, while the square plate should have the horizontal slits on the rear side. The square plate is to be attached to the C plate on the rear side on the top slit using 2 nuts and bolts. After we finish attaching, the plates will look like this. We will make 2 such assemblies which will be exactly mirror images of each other. And this forms the base of our robot. Now we will connect these 2 assemblies using a square plate. We'll put the square plate as close to these 2 other square plates as possible. If you see here, I'm going to attach the square plate, the front hole of the square plate will be aligned with the third, so 1, 2 and 3, third hole of the C plate. After attaching the square plate, the assembly looks like this. Now we are going to attach one more square plate as the roof. To do that, we'll need L connector here. So we'll use 2 L connectors, one this side and one other side, and we'll attach this roof. As we need to ensure that while attaching the square plate, the head of the bolt should be outside so that it does not obstruct our gears or wheels which are going to come on this side. I have attached the L connectors to the square plate such that the tail is top and the head is below. Now I am going to attach this square plate here as a roof using a bolt which passes from outside to inside. While connecting the roof, it is very difficult to attach the nut from inside when the roof is in final position. To ensure that it is easy for us to attach the nut, we tilt the roof, we attach the nut here, both sides, and then once the bolts are sufficiently tightened, we tilt the roof back and we'll do the final tightening of the bolts. Now our whole assembly is ready. It's time for us to attach the motor, gears and the wheels. First, we'll remove the motor screws and we'll attach the motor shaft. We'll reattach the motor screws at this place. I have attached the motor and now we are going to attach the big gear onto the motor shaft. But before we attach the big gear, we'll attach a hub to create some space so that when we attach our big gear, it does not get obstructed due to this bolt head. Once we attach the big gear, we'll put a shaft lock to avoid the axial movement of this gear. Now comes the important part. We have to attach the wheel, and those wheels will be driven by the second gear which is going to come here. Now we need to ensure that we know the exact position of that second gear so that we can create one hole in this slit. So let me check this gear, let me align it and see where the hole comes. So I can see that the hole should come at the rear end of this horizontal slit. So I will make a hole using a flat rotator. So I'll attach only one bolt into the front circular hole so that I get the rear circular hole can be used to pass the axle which will hold this gear at its place. So I've attached the flat rotator and we can see we have created one hole here. Care must be taken while attaching the flat rotator here, because if we do not see the complete hole, the axle may not pass it and the gear's motion would be restricted. And we need another flat rotator exactly opposite so that the axle passes in a straight line from this end to this end. So let's attach another flat rotator at this place. So I've attached one more flat rotator here, and now we can see that if I pass this axle, it passes through and comes out from the other side, and it has a very smooth motion. So on this axle we are going to put one spacer just to ensure that our gear perfectly meshes with the big gear. We'll attach the wheels on both sides now. So let's take a wheel, attach it on the gear side first and lock it using a shaft lock. On the other side we'll put one spacer as we have put here, and for this gear we'll put one more spacer. This will ensure that both our wheels are equidistant from the seat plates. And again lock this wheel with a shaft lock. So we have finished the rear side. Now let's attach the front wheel. To attach the front wheel, we'll again need to make holes here, because the axle without hole can move up down, and to avoid that up and down movement of the wheel, we'll make two holes, one on this side and one on the rear side here. I have made holes, one on this side and one on this side. Let me see if the holes are aligned properly. For that I'm going to put one axle and see it passes through, and also the axle rotates freely. Yes, we have a freely rotating axle. So now we'll attach the front wheel. So pass the axle from one side, then have one shaft lock. This lock is going to be used to put the wheel in the proper place. Take the wheel, pass the wheel, put one more shaft lock. So we need shaft locks on both sides of the wheel so that the wheel stays in proper position, and then pass the axle through the second side. See if the wheel is in position where you want, and then put the axles on the both sides of the shaft to ensure the shaft stays at proper pose. Okay, and the wheel rotates freely. So this completes our vintage car. So let's see how it works. So I have connected my remote, I've connected the wire to the motor, and let's now drive our vintage car. I'm sure you would like to make many more robots. To do that, you must watch our videos, which we are going to post every fortnight. And to ensure that you get notifications of these videos, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Until then, happy making.